Welcome to Know Your Candidate podcast. This is an opportunity for candidates from across Tauranga City wards to tell their stories, their experiences, their reasonings in their own words. A format which gives them more than the public debates and profiles that you've seen already. An opportunity for the voter, the ratepayer, future resident to get to know who you want leading the city and, importantly, are they capable of doing so? Anne Pankhurst, a previous business owner, councillor and political junkie, will find out more why the candidates want to run, where they have come from, what they're going to do. So let's not wait anymore. Let's go.
We're here this morning with Terry Molloy, who's standing in the Te Papa ward. Welcome, Terry, to Know Your Candidate podcast series.
Good morning, Anne.
Morning. So this morning our format is to take the opportunity for a longer, more conversation approach to you, the candidates, so you can speak and share your own aspirations for the city. Take about 20 to 30 minutes answering pre-prepared questions of which you've got no idea. And the most important aspect of the selection is to vote, and that you encourage as many people to vote. That's become one of our cries, just to make sure that we have a good turnout, and that democracy works when we all engage, actively take part, learn about our candidates, and understand what is important to us for the future of the city. So remember to share this podcast through your channels and through your database, and to follow us on Know Your Candidate series on the podhub.com. So Terry, tell us a bit about you. Who are you? Children? No children? What have you done in the past? Give us that brief bio on yourself.
Bio, right. I'm born in Tauranga, family been here since 1918. Basically a farming background with a lot of contracting and a little bit of property development. I'm married, Robin, 2 children, 3 grandchildren. Always been very interested in community. I chaired the Greaton Village community. I chaired the Greaton Village redevelopment committee. Chaired it and drove it actually, and that got now set up as it is today with the cherry trees, streetscape, the village square, and all the library. None of that would have happened without our committees. I also chaired and drove the Gate Fire exhibition, which was very successful. One of the reasons these things are successful is that you have good people around you. One of the things I do. Always been very interested in community, and still are. Spent nearly 30 years with Greaton Main Street, and then I worked with the Tauranga Main Street at times. A lot of sport in my life. But yeah, that's just that brief background of Terry Molloy.
I have to say that the Greaton Library is a real legacy. It's just a phenomenal community amenity. And as your friend, I helped you on the Pokahina exhibition, which I just felt was outstanding. So congratulations on both of those things. You've left your mark in anyway, Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Annie. Thank you.
And so now I know that you've had governance as TCP councillor, but have you had, and you kind of briefly ran through sort of the Main Street things and those governances. Have you got any other governance roles that you've had?
No, apart from I'm chairing the Pokahina Trust at the moment, which is looking after the Tauranga site to some extent, and also the Padwood Pass site, and potentially a new facility there on the site. So we're looking to develop that. Tutoring now, looking after families. I'm board of that. No, that's they are my primary interests at the moment.
So you didn't, in your little brief rundown, you didn't actually give us very much on the fact that you've been a councillor in 3 or 4 trienniums now.
I've been 3 terms of councillor, yes.
So that will be your experience of working with and for and close to Tauranga City Council, wouldn't it? Also, those other roles in Main Streets, etc., would have you working close, even if you weren't a councillor.
Yes, I was councillor for 9 years, and that during that 9 years, I have been a commissioner, and also I've always worked very closely with, or been very supportive of the likes of smart growth, because I think that's incredibly important going forward. But that's probably for another question.
No, it's not. But well done for bringing it up. You're the first ones. So, my next question to you is: what do you consider the main role of a mayor and the councillors to be?
I firmly believe our main role is in planning. We've got another 50,000 people coming at us really quickly, and if we're not ready for it, if we haven't got planning right, we're going to be in trouble. I think planning and collaboration, because we won't get the funding, we won't get the planning right unless we do collaborate, and that's with our partners, Western Bay, regional, central government, the iwi of Tauranga. We've got to pull all those together to make sure that when we're fit for purpose going through in the next 50 years. That to me, that's the main role. That's what we've got to. We all know what the problems are. And I always relate it to, I remember going for a run in the forest once. I thought I knew the area quite well, but because I was looking down all the time to see where my feet were going, I actually took a wrong turn and I got badly lost. And we, in our role as councillors, we've got to keep our heads up and look into the future, because if we don't, we'll screw it up.
It's a really amazing analogy, and it actually probably sums up a bit how I feel. We've got to be looking forward, not backward.
Absolutely.
Or down. So I want to kind of drill down on a bit on your ability and experience in managing complex commercial and political environments, and potentially this council is going to have a large number of inexperienced or new councillors, and how you see that working, and what skills and experience will you bring to the table for that if you are elected?
I believe, in a council, you don't want a council that's full of accountants, for example, or lawyers, or even town planners. You need a cross section there. And I've had considerable life experience in almost every department, not at a high level, but it's enough that I think makes me a very suitable councillor. I have an ability to work with people, which I think is one of the more critical things in council. And my record is showing that with what I've achieved in the past.
Definitely. So if funding is for the huge infrastructure spend, which you've kind of alluded to, is one of the biggest issues facing the city, what would a solution that you might have be other than funding?
We still have to work on the growth paying for growth, because my understanding to date and what I've seen, they've never quite done that.
And have you got other solutions?
And you need to find innovative ways to make that happen. I'm hoping that collectively with the other fast-growing cities in the country, we can put pressure on money generated in areas to assist. So it's not just with ratepayers. The other one, there's innovations around transport that are coming up that could make a huge difference. How we fund our transport infrastructure. And some of those are things that we need to have a hard look at.
So, Terry, given, and I probably know how you're going to answer this, but we'll give it a go anyway. Given that you govern at large, how do you see when you make a collective decision, when it's not what you think your ratepayers will be thrilled about, or some of your ratepayers, how do you manage that conflict of the greater good or the at-large decision against the ward representation?
That's a position that you put yourself in when you become a councillor. You have to listen to your community. If you don't, you'll be in a lot of trouble. But there will be times when, with the information that you have, and with your background and your experience, you have to make a decision based on your integrity, and that it's something that I feel is critically important. You have to listen to your conscience and integrity when you make a decision, and not make politically convenient.
Right. And great. So I'm really interested in your reaction to the view that Tauranga is a critical part of New Zealand Inc. and the economy. So we have to sometimes think more nationally than locally because what happens here matters.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it does. But, I also look not only with a national lens on it, but I look at it also with an environmental lens because, I've been very fortunate in Tauranga. I've lived my life, children, and I sometimes worry about how my grandchildren and great-grandchildren will they have the same benefits in life that I had. And when you look at the Tauranga as opposed to the National League, we need to play our part, but we also need to make sure our city is fit for purpose.
So I'm going to ask, how are you going to manage the competing interests, like reasonable rates, new funding models, infrastructure deficit and debt? How will you choose between investing in growth versus rate relief?
Rate relief is going to be extremely difficult. Realistically, rates are never going to go down. It's something we just have to manage. Rates will increase. We have to make sure they don't increase to a point that it's not sustainable. And it's just going to be a balancing act. It's going to be difficult. But we just need to get the best brains around the table we can and find a mechanism to do that.
Okay, so you are going to be sitting at a table of a large number of potentially inexperienced councillors and we both know that the first sort of few months that you go and you blink a lot and think, this is much bigger than I ever anticipated. How will you manage that if you get in and with your experience, what do you think you'll bring to the table to help those people?
I think you need to have a calming influence because you will get through this sentence. And it's what was the saying? Talking about the Holyoke shed, go out and breathe through your nose.
Oh yes,
Just breathe through.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
There's plenty of Vulcan Council. There's some very, very good stuff there. And then all you have to do is ask questions, and you'll find out very quickly. There's a good team here, but you just need to use them.
So, Terry, I just wanted to I'm going to ask a reasonably challenging question for you as a previous councillor. I was going to say old, but that's just not the case, is it, Terry?
It's not far wrong, Eddie.
So,
not far wrong.
Where do you stand on amalgamation?
A unitary authority?
Yes.
I would be inclined to support it. I would, as I was saying before, in the next 50 years, the area of Tauranga from Omakaro to Te Puke is just going to blaze up, and we have to work together, literally as one. So logically, we should be one. So I would tend to support it quite strongly.
Yes, it seems to be becoming much more. You're right. We're going to urbanise everywhere between Omakaro and Te Puke, and the thing used to be that Western Bay was very rural and the city was urban, so they had kind of different needs and wants. But that is changing quite dramatically in the Western Bay now, isn't it?
Oh yes, yeah. The population of the Western Bay is quite significant.
Yes, they still have quite a large urban interest, but they're getting, rural interest, but they're getting much more urbanised than they were previously.
Correct.
So the other thing that I'd quite like to ask you is, What do you consider some of the biggest challenges facing the city right now?
The city's made up of many parts. The CBD is going through a regeneration. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I remember, excuse me a sec. I remember some years ago, writing an article, I think it was about 10 years ago, saying cranes over Tauranga. And when I look out my window now, I see 6 cranes.
There's actually 8 in the sky.
Sorry?
There's 8.
Okay. But there are cranes over Tauranga.
Yes, yes.
Regeneration. And it's fantastic. And I think these commissioners have set us on a path, not without pain and it's not without trouble. They've set us on a path that we have to follow. And it's going to be fantastic. And I'm looking forward to the next 10 years. But other than that, we've got a number of infrastructure problems. Our transport, congestion at Tauranga is facing. And if we're not very, very careful, it's going to get a lot worse. So that's a very important one. I fully support their direction in trying to encourage people into buses and cycleways and walking. But that change is going to be generational. And I think if they force one area like Tauranga to riding buses and leave the rest of it, it screws the scrum properly. And that needs to be fixed, I believe. But that's some of the main challenges and the cost too to the community. How we manage that, that's another big challenge. They are the principal one. Everything else seems to be moving along quite well.
So what do you think of the relationship between Tauranga and Wellington? What do you see a big importance there, and how is that best managed?
I think the relationship with Wellington is critical. Tauranga's in the past struggled a bit. I mean, a lot of our infrastructure, like the Tauranga East and Redcay and others, and the Harbour Bridge, they're just old to get. I'm surprised they haven't built the Northern Link. Yes, we need to develop those relationships as much as we can with central government. And one of the best ways of doing that is by collaborating here. We go to Wellington as a, like they have done with Smart Growth, as a unified group, then we're going to get far more traction. And, with the port the way it is, with the importance of Tauranga in New Zealand Inc., I think we've got to capitalise on that.
Well, Terry, thank you very much. Your session you've frozen quite a bit, so your internet link can't be that clever in that apartment building, but you've still been able to speak really well, and thank you very much for sharing what your thoughts are. Wish you well in the upcoming election and best of luck, and thank you very much again.
Thank you, Anne. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to catching up.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you, Anne. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tune in to the next episode of Know Your Candidate to be informed on who you want to run your city. Got feedback and like to comment your thoughts on the episode? Connect with Know Your Candidate on social. This has been the podup.com experience. Check out the podup.com for other podcasts and how you can even do your own.